Hi there, everyone. My name is Brett. I'm founder of Pupil Progress. In this session, we're actually going to talk through our amazing partnership with PiXL, which is PiXL Waves powered by Pupil Progress. Something we've been working with PiXL on for nearly 2 years now, actually a little over 2 years. And this is a mathematics specific session. We did run a session for English recently that you'll be able to get the recordings for that through our usual channels. This is maths specific, and I'm going to get right to the punch to basically share with everyone how we are supporting PiXL with now what is called the Waves. Historically, it was called the Wave, and the reason why it's called the Wave is because it was capturing one single point in time. Brilliant system where everyone would sit a single paper. That's allocated by PiXL. So, for example, it was the June 2022 paper, and everyone in the cohort that is a PiXL member is going to sit that particular paper on a particular window, and then you've got a period of time to mark it and then get your data into your existing tracker or your Excel spreadsheet. Now, while it was a brilliant system, it's obviously became quite onerous on not only the PiXL team, but also the English leads and the maths leads that were taking part in the Wave. So our collaboration, and it was actually Rachel Johnson that came up with the name, which is the Waves. And this is actually allows us to see the outcome of multiple papers. Now, what we've moved away from is this idea that everyone has to use one single paper in one single point in time. And it allows you to actually engage with multiple papers, any papers at any point. And I'm going to talk to you now about the evolution of the Wave to the Waves, because what we created at Pupil Progress was exam board specific trackers that calculate the grade exactly as the exam board do, so that you can enter your data directly into the Pupil Progress trackers. I'm going to say this a number of times. This is available to you as part of your PiXL membership. So it's completely inclusive of what you currently have as a subscription with PiXL. I'll say it a number of times. I'll keep repeating it just so people are aware that it is at no cost. Now, what's absolutely key here is we've just seen on this video that all of our trackers, and I'm actually just going to show that again. All of our trackers are at QLA. So you've got all of that data at question level analysis. We've entered all of those papers for you, by the way, and tagged every single question against every single topic area. And this is the key with how the Wave has evolved to the Waves. What you're seeing here is the ability to see how students are performing at subtopic level. So it's every subtopic broken down into the 8 to 10 or 12 strands, and at this subtopic level. Now, the key about the Waves is it's this that we are analyzing. What you're seeing there in the blue rectangle, rather than us analyzing a particular paper, what we are now doing is allowing everyone who is a PiXL member to sit any paper they wish at any point, and then we're analyzing at a point in time how those particular schools that have engaged with that entry are performing in the topics and subtopic level. And that allows you that freedom. It allows you to engage with the Waves after the reflection point. It gives you a bit of breathing space, but most importantly, it also gives you a tracking system that means that you don't have to double data enter or treble enter data. So if you were engaged with the Waves, you'd have to enter data into your tracker, then you'd have to then copy and paste it or type it into the PiXL download, and you'd also have to type it into your school's MIS. With this Pupil Progress platform, it means that you're only entering data in once, and because it's in real time, what it means is we can see the data across all of the schools that enter the data and can do that analysis far faster. So the beauty here is we're able to see how schools are performing in particular subtopic levels. But if I go to tools and then click under the tab for PiXL Waves, we can actually present the comparison and the reflection point that we've done nationally live on the tracker. Now, historically, the report was very powerful because PiXL would do their analysis from the Wave and then they would publish a report. What we've done is just supported in that being able to be, presented to you far faster in a far more timely fashion, because you can see here, I'm able to see the national comparison live on my tracker against my cohort's data rather than having to wait for a report. Now, PiXL still provide a report as well, because that report is really, really important. I'll repeat this a number of times as well. They are looking at the data and understanding which areas students are underperforming in nationally, and then writing resources for it. So it's an insane system for you. So not only are you getting the actual system itself, the tracking platform, you're not only getting a national comparison on the platform live in real time, you're also getting PiXL doing an unbelievable work of, right, our specialists are now writing resources so that you can actually improve your teaching and learning, or allocate resources to your students in a far more effective way. Now, the key is, again, this covers every single topic, subtopic level. So it is got the depth of detail that you need as a maths lead. But we are most importantly educators. So the platform that we've built, okay, is something that is designed to help you as a department lead, not just to engage with just this partnership. Okay. So as a head of department, we've added day-to-day tools that are going to enable you to help you save time and improve efficiencies in your department's workload. So not only is it a really effective tool at deep QLA per paper, what you've also got is the ability to see very clearly some information that enables you to take action. I've got students where the data pulls through from the school's MIS. I've got their target grades that also pull through from the MIS, that show me against their QLA exactly how students are performing against their minimum target. This student, for example, Juliet Capulet's got a minimum target of an 8, current grade 7, 1 grade away from their minimum target. To achieve that 8, she needs 29 marks. But most importantly, we've got the ability to see that data against the student's performance and present it in a report. Now, PiXL coined the phrase, the PLC. Our reports are called individual student reports. We love the fact that teachers turn around to us and say, oh, it's like the PiXL PLC. Absolutely. You're exactly right. PiXL did really grip hold of this a long time ago and showed, the way for a lot of that granular subtopic breakdown at QLA level. What we've done is presented how students are performing against their minimum target, and given you the key subtopic breakdown, percentage of performance for each student, as well as then what are the key areas that they need to work on in line with those subtopics. This is the important part. We've got a lot of mechanics at the moment in education, which are really set up to give us, really lots of detail in areas which are really great information historically, i.e. this is how they performed 3 or 4 weeks ago. What we're really passionate about is taking this data and creating an improvement in mindset and motivation and actual and students taking action. So a lot of data platforms will support you as a school leader and a department lead in getting historic subgroup breakdown, for example, or how a particular group of students are performing, my white British boys, or it might be pupil premium girls, whatever your subgroup is. But what we want to do is promote a student feeling empowered to do more, which is ultimately the thing that's going to have the biggest impact on what we're seeing here, which is how do I achieve my target grade? This improves motivation, and it improves motivation by the student feeling ownership. It's got their name in it. It's got their own personalized data. This will look different to the student that's sitting next to them. It will look different to their peers. It helps them feel like it's theirs, and that ownership is absolutely critical. And the ownership comes in combination with buy-in. And the buy-in comes from the fact that the teacher knows exactly what areas they're underperforming in. And the student gets buy-in because the student's like, oh, okay, incredible. Not only do I know my weakest areas, we're covering this in my home learning. We're covering it in my lessons. You're marking my home learning that's targeting the areas that I'm weak in. And my intervention strategy is in line with my own personalized report. Combination of buy-in and ownership creates a willingness to take action. If I want to do something for me because I feel like it's mine and there's a clear path to take, I'm more likely to take action. What is that action? Turn up to intervention sessions, do my homework in a way that's, one, even do it, complete it in the first place. Two, do homework to a higher standard, be more present in lessons, revise for longer. These are things that are sometimes ignored that we really are passionate about engaging students with. A lot of schools feedback, especially on the English and maths waves offer. Wow, like my students are so bought in now into what we're doing. They're going the extra mile, and it's not just the teacher's responsibility. So these are the tools that you might have got VLOOKUP set up for. You might have got sophisticated formulas to pull through, which I'm not saying for a second aren't working, but we've built a software now that does this for you. And you can choose on the report different grade types you want to show on there. You can even pull through the QLA from a single paper. So it's not just the overarching subtopics, it's actually the full paper breakdown that you can also present to students as well. So it is in line with that PLC methodology that works so, brilliantly well. You can also push this information out to your students. So it's not just held in their, in your hands to then print out and put in to their folders, or print out, physically take it to parents' evening or parent consultation evenings. I've also got the ability to push this out into their parents' hands physically, and also the student hands, because this is a pupil progress app that allows you to push it out to parents and students. I've mentioned it before, and I really don't mind repeating myself on these types of sessions, because sometimes, that repeat message really helps it to sink in just how well connected this is. So our platform connects directly with every major MIS. Not many are using outside of these three, but there's others that we do also connect with, like ISAMS, and there's another one that their name it escapes me. Generally, these are your biggest hitters. Our platform connects with all of those, so all classes are synced. If you make any set changes, all of those are live and present the next day. So what we are not is competing with tools like Scissor and 4Matrix. So as a head of department, I've got live information, live data. And this is what we're describing as dashboards rather than analytics, because analytics is deep interrogation of information. This is actually, I just want to understand the current position and take action. An example here, it presents for me all of the students across my classes, A8, P8, all 9 to 4s, 9 to 5s, and then any subgroup breakdown. Again, this is not analysis. This is actually what I would describe as fast information in real time. Now, I'm going to take you a little bit through a so what. So what, Brett? This is wonderful. You've got this really, incredible collaboration with PiXL. PiXL are writing the resources. They're doing the national comparison. I can see the national comparison on the platform. I've also got tools that help me as a head of department. How would I use this tool to not only engage with the waves and take action? How would I actually use it within my department to create an outcome that's going to benefit the students moving forward? Well, if I go to my dashboard here, you can see very clearly the percentage of students that are 1 grade away in the top right-hand corner there. And I've also got the breakdown across my class. So let me just drill down into that a little bit more deeply, because when I'm in my tracker, I can simply filter out every student that is 1 grade away. And I can then see very clearly which students are underperforming in which particular areas. So these are all the students that are they're all 1 grade away. You can all see them all in orange. And you can see that every student's got 1 grade away. And you can see their target grade against how many grades they are away. And I can see how many marks they are away from achieving their minimum target. Typically, it's going to be anywhere between 1 and 12 marks away from shifting up to their minimum target. But the key here is I'm able to grip hold of those students, my low hanging fruit, the ones that are closest to getting to achieving their minimum targets. But quite quickly and easily, I can now see exactly which topic areas they're underperforming in that specific group. And this is where, I know that we are not reinventing the wheel. And I know people will be listening to this session thinking, well, we already do this. 100% I agree. What we've done in the software is made it a little bit faster. I'm going to go on to show you how you can add a test that we've added. So we've added every previously published past paper. So we've taken that workload away, and we can show you how to manipulate papers if you make a new paper too. So not only can I grip hold at students that are one grade away, I can see exactly how many students are underperforming in which particular areas of that paper and across the topic areas. And I can create a tag. So you're seeing down the left-hand side there, we've got the ability to add a tag. And what that tag does, okay, is it allows me to, if I click on this here, this tag here allows me to tag all of those students. That tag is now saved in the filters. So I can return to that group of students anytime that I come back to the tracker, which is really, really helpful. And again, in line with the tools that we've created to help you as a head of department as an ongoing teacher. So there you can see I've gripped hold of a group of students that are one grade away that are underperforming in number, fractions, decimals, and percentages. And I can revisit that group of students to see how far they're moving forward in the future. This is the key, is creating those processes that not only you may do on a regular basis, but also being able to empower your teachers within your department to be able to do this level of activity as well. Because again, you don't have to be fearful of them getting on your spreadsheet. You don't have to be fearful of them mucking up your formulas, because this is a software that can't be broken. Things I want to remind you of before I actually get onto the platform, because I'm going to slide across in a moment and actually show you how easy it is for you to add a test, manipulate a test, make it personalized for your department processes. This tracking system is available as part of the PiXL Waves, as part of the PiXL membership. So if you're a PiXL member, you've got access to this for all maths courses, for all exam boards, including Wales and Ireland, for both Key Stage 4 and 5, as well as all performance-linked resources at zero cost. It's all inclusive, okay? If you want to get going with this because you've heard enough, or you've heard of other people talking about it, all you need to simply do, just email onboarding@pupilprogress.com and someone will get back to you within the hour to just get you up and running. It's at zero cost. And I want to be clear, this is not, we're going to get you hooked on, and then to get another qualification, you've got to add money, and you've got to, you've got to add a subscription, and you've got to, got to go and get it signed off to be able to pay for it. All of Key Stage 4, all of Key Stage 5, all maths courses, all exam boards. So if you're running A-level and you're running EdXL and you're running GCSE and you're running AQA, you can use this at zero cost as part of your PiXL membership. That's for English as well. But the key, and this is the really important part, and I was recently speaking at the conference, and Jenny Gaylor, reinforced this also. This also includes the fact that PiXL are writing the resources based on that national comparison. So not only do I then understand which students are underperforming in which area, I then can go to PiXL's platform and I can just handpick all the very best resources that have been written, because they know how people are underperforming nationally, which are more than likely going to be where you're underperforming. And therefore it's even less workload for you. So it's an unbelievable offer that I encourage you to either get involved with, or if you're already involved with, share it with someone else. Now I'm going to swipe across and actually pull you into the platform. I've got about 10 minutes left. So some of your questions will be like, well, okay, that's wonderful, Brett. But if this was truly going to meet my department's needs, I'd be able to add my own tests. I'd be able to, show the trackers in a different light. We've got some examples here. So we've set up AQA. We've set up SIA just to show you that we've got that for the Irish exam boards. We've got the Educast set up. This is actually Zana's profile. Zana is our lead on the PiXL Wave. So she would be answering your email pretty quickly. If I click on live tracking, you are into the tracker immediately. Some really, really lovely features. So at the moment, you can see I've got my minimum target, I've got my unit grades, I've got my average grade, my teacher predicted grade, and I've got a final grade. Now you're thinking to yourself, wow, there's a lot of grades there. That's understandable. This is just a showcase. if I go to view, I can actually choose which ones I want to show. So you might say, look, I don't need to see the unit marks because I've already got those from the paper. I'd like to see the minimum target grade and the average grade, but I don't actually need to see the teacher predicted grade at the moment. And I do want to see the final grade. And the final grade is, this is brilliant because this is what's called a flexi grade. So you can actually, as part of your schools, it might not be called for you teacher predicted grade. It might not be called for you, I don't know, something like, your aspirational grade. You can type and create that grade type so that you can make it in line with your school's processes, but I can also populate that in bulk. So if I actually go to tools, I can actually, in the bulk edit area, apologies, forgive me, not bulk edit, in copy grades, I can take a set of grades from the QLA from a single paper. So there's my QLA. I can take all of those full grades and actually present them, not copy and paste, just present them in my final grade. So I can go to tools and I can go to copy grades. I want to copy from the assessment. I'd choose the assessment and I'd post it to final grade. So again, we are reducing all double data entry. We're making it really manageable. Again, this is built by people that have done the job that you're doing. So we understand the pain points that you have. Let's also go to the QLA itself. I can now add papers at full question level analysis. Let's open that out. We are going to be adding the ability to do some RAG rating, but this is color scale. So quite quickly, I can see very, very quickly my areas of underperformance. I've got an average row at the top here, and that average row at the top allows me to see exactly how my students are performing on average. And what I can also do is I can decide which assessments I'd like to show on the tracker in this edit assessments. So if I click edit assessments, I've got this tool that allows me to see all of my assessments that I've added to SIA, to AQA, to the EdXL tracker. And if I click in the top right-hand corner, quick edit, you'll see very quickly that I've got a nice, neat system that enables me to see what is on the track and what's not. And I can manage that really easily. So for example, I might not want to show the non-calculator paper or sorry, the calculator paper here. I would just simply uncheck these and then that would take them off the tracker. Wouldn't delete them. I can bring them back at any point. And then I've got a view where I'm only seeing the assessments that I would like to be on the tracker and also therefore contributing to the grade. This also allows me to decide what I show on my students' report. So not everything has to be shown. Let's discard the changes and then let's go back to tracker. Now, if I wanted to add an assessment, you're like, Brett, that's wonderful, but I need to manipulate a paper. I've got year 10 mocks coming up. I've smashed a couple of papers together, or I've got a paper and I need to adjust it. If I click on add new assessment, this big blue button here, I've got 3 types of assessment. Adding a published assessment allows me to just simply add a paper at QLA that we've added. So let's just take you for an example. If I go to foundation, let's go to higher tier. I want to add it to non-calculator. What you're also seeing here is I can add it to an end of topic test. So if I don't want to actually add it to a particular paper because it isn't covered, I've got some questions that are non-calculator, some questions that are calculator. I'm just really understanding where the students are in certain topics. I can just add it to end of topic test. That means it's in an area that's not allocated to a paper. And then when you're ready, you can sit a paper that is allocated to a paper, right? So let's just say we've done enough and we want to allocate it to a paper type. So this is questions covering non-calculator for paper 1. And I'm actually going to choose the June series and I'm going to use the June 2024 paper. And I'm going to name this one, let's just say, might be a little bit late for a mock, but let's just say it's an April mock. And then I've also got the ability to choose which classes I want to add these to, all or some, and makes it really easy for me to add those to the tracker. I can also choose to show that QLA. So the bit you saw right at the start, if I just check that box, say show QLA, not only will it give me the subtopic breakdown on the tracker, it will also give me the full QLA for that paper on the report. So you get the subtopic breakdown as a total kind of table summary for you on the report. And then the second page will give you the breakdown for that particular paper and that particular paper only. Now, there's another type of assessment I want to show you how you can add. If I click add assessment, I can add a custom assessment. So I might just want to do a unit test that covers, again, non-calculator, or I just want it outside of that structure of which paper it's on. I'd like to, it might just be, I want to sit a paper that covers algebra. I can add a single mark paper. So I can say to the department, well, we're just doing a small end of topic test, 30 marks, covering algebra notation. Okay. Now, if I open up the subtopics, you see we've added all of those subtopics, and I've also got the ability to check certain topics off the list. So it might not have covered certain topics, or I can be much more forensic. I can do a question level paper that is going to cover, it's called algebra, but it's going to cover the subtopics. So I can actually go to algebra and say, well, I'd like this question to cover A1. And I know this question covered 4 marks. And I just simply click on save that selection, add another paper. So this might just be, let's just say Q1. And I'm going to select another paper. And that's also going to cover something from algebra under graph. So A11 roots, for example. And then I'm going to just save that selection. And again, I would just add the amount of marks. That might have been an 8-mark question because I've got to show you a lot of work in, or it's something that's got more levels to it. So you can see I can build out question level analysis in small topics. I can do section level analysis in small topics. And then I can simply choose the grade boundaries that I want to use. And I'm going to actually demonstrate that on the next paper, because that's probably where you're going to have more complexity. Because if I'm adding a small test here, just an end of topic test, I would probably just use the same grade boundaries as a tracker, or I might just do a grade boundary shift. So we've actually covered, for example, I don't know, numbers and shapes, whatever it is you've covered that's not as technically difficult as other areas. You could make it 5 or 10% harder, so you're not actually, inflating the grades too heavily. But when we get to deeper mocks, I would want to use my own boundaries if I wanted to add my own boundaries. So I'm going to show you this with, if I go to the third assessment type, which is copying an existing assessment. So copying the existing assessment is I'm going to choose the paper that I would like to cover. They're all in really simple chronological order. So again, here's the June 2023 higher tier paper, copy selected. And this is where the workload comes in, because I know what will happen. You as maths leads will be sitting there saying, well, look, we do this. I get it 100%. We're not trying to say that we're, trying to revolutionize your ability to do QLA. What we are doing is saying that we've got a software here that can help you do these things faster. And we've got something that can help you organize it in a way that's really, really impactful, because of the speed in which you can now use the information. I've got all of my questions against that paper, which is, let me tag that for the non-calculator. Again, let's maybe call this the April mock. And we know it was the June 23 paper. You might have an internal name for it. It might be your PPE1, your PPE2. What we're going to do here is you might want to actually start to manipulate this paper. So I need to remove this question because we haven't actually covered that question. I need to remove 6B because that wasn't covered. I also need to remove question 12 because that wasn't covered. But what I'd also like to do as well is I'd like to duplicate a couple of questions here, because I did cover this topic area, but it was a slightly different question from a different paper, and that was only 3 marks from the same topic area. So you can see I can actually really tailor exactly how the tracker meets the needs of the assessment you've sat. And then very simply, as we've discussed, I can choose my own grade boundaries, or I can use the same as the tracker, and I can choose whether this is going to be a higher or foundation tier paper. And this leans into the last part of the session, because in a moment, I'm just going to show you, I can add this to both higher and foundation tier. And then once I choose which tracker they're going to move to, which is the foundation or the higher tier tracker, I'm able to then take the data with me across from this single tiered paper. So we're kind of calling it a mid-tier paper, because this might be a paper that I'm sitting to understand whether students can cope with higher tier papers. Therefore, I'm going to make a decision on whether they're going to become a higher tier or foundation tier student in my classes. So you can see here that it's very, very easy for you to be able to have this, what you've got on the trackers. You've got the ability to really create a bespoke solution to your needs as a department need. You can see here I've just got a single paper. And then for me to actually understand, let's actually just blow this up a little bit here. Top left-hand corner, I can move between my higher and foundation tier students. So these are my foundation tier students here. So I've got 3 that I've moved across, and I've got a group of higher tier students, which allows me to see how my higher tier students are performing, which allows me to keep my higher and foundation tier students really neatly organized. When they enter the system, they enter as a mid-tier. So they're in mid-tier, and then you decide to move them to higher or foundation. And then once they're in those areas, as long as I create a test that is applicable to higher and foundation, I can move the assessments across, and the data goes with the students as well. So it's a really, really effective way of being able to manage all of the data across your platform. Now, the last point is I can see all of this data at a whole year group overview. So if I click in the top left-hand corner here, I would actually like to see all of my students across the whole year group. So I can start to now do that analysis that you saw in the PowerPoint presentation before coming to the live tracker. These are all my students across the whole entire cohort. And then from there, I can start to chunk that data up. So this is the full data set at QLA for those students. If I go to filters, there's that data pulled through now. So there's all the students' data across the whole entire platform. I've also got the ability to put those in order of performance. So distance to minimum target across my final grade. And I can then go to filters. Let's bring up those. Let's compare minimum target. So my average unit grade. I want to see which students are 1 grade away. Here's all the students that are 1 grade away from my minimum target. There's that list. Bang. Really, really simple, really fast and effective. Let's just zoom out a little bit. There's the group of students. And then when I open up that tracker, wow, there's all the data against that specific group of students. Where's my lowest performing areas? Well, you got some questions here where students are not getting very high marks against the available marks, which is, we can see, 4 marks available. If I put those in order of highest to lowest performance, I mean, you guys who are, really deep into data analysis, this is just going to start creating some really wonderful information for you. And again, I can go to tools. I can then enable tagging here, and you can see that tag is created, and I can open that tag. So let's go to tools. Let's go to configure. This might be students getting English, not maths. I might want to create a new tag where students are underperforming again in, might be algebra notations. So yeah, it could be algebra notations. And then I can create that tag. Just need to spell it right first. Click save and close. There's my algebra notations. And then I've got that tag here. I can tag all of those students that I know are underperforming in that particular area. If I click that top button, it's going to populate all of those. And then I'll be able to refine those students. Now you can see I've got no data against these students in particular. So let's take away those ones. And these are the students that I want to work with. Let's just say, for example, it's this group here under that particular heading. When I then go, now that those tags are updated, when I go to filter, I can filter by tag. And let's filter by that particular tag that I've created. There's the group of students that I want to grab hold of. Now you can see I've tagged those against the wrong topic. I'm doing it on a presentation. You'd be able to do it super fast. Choose the right topic, choose the group of students you want to grip hold of. These are all my students that are 1 grade away. It's the best to-do list ever, because all you're going to see is, all I've got to do is keep working with these students on this particular area. And then when I get confidence that they've, met their targets, I simply take them off the list. And then you'll see once we've removed them, because they're not on the filter, they'll come away from that list. And I'm coming back to lists that my job is to simply make those lists become shorter. It's the best to-do list in the world. It's wonderful. We're getting some teachers turn around to us saying, yeah, you know, I'm just so driven by going to my filters and then actually reducing the students on each list, because I've got clear lists of students that I want to work through. I know if they're coming off that list, it means they've moved forward, and they're not coming off that list unless they haven't moved forward. So I just really want to reiterate as a summary, this partnership is particularly powerful because not only is it zero cost, you're getting the weight of PiXL behind it as well. We're doing that national comparison. You've got all of that data that is being compared to how other schools are performing. You're getting a first-class tracker that's going to help you as a department lead, improve and speed up your processes. But most importantly, it's at zero cost. You haven't got to get this signed off. You haven't got to go and find budget for it. It's already paid for as a PiXL member. So it's a fantastic offer. I'm going to stop the cam. No, I'm not. I'm going to stop sharing is a better idea. Zana's in the background there saying, no, don't stop the cam. Otherwise, we're going to be in deep trouble. I'm going to be in deep trouble. So I'm going to close it off there. If you do have any questions, if you want to get going, if you really like what you've seen here, all you need to do is click email onboarding@pupilprogress.com. Or if you want to, you can just go to the website and schedule a call. So I'm going to show you that very quickly right now. If you actually go to the Pupil Progress homepage, you're going to be able to find out how to do that pretty quickly as well. So let me just pull this up. Let's do this here. So yeah, if we go to the Pupil Progress homepage, you'll see quite quickly we're listed as a PiXL partner here. If you're a PiXL member, learn more. I'm actually just going to go back and do that once more so you can see that where I think it's come up in a separate tab. That's brilliant. Here we go. So go to the Pupil Progress website. You just scroll down to the bottom. You've got all this information that we're a PiXL partner. Are you a PiXL member school? Yes, I am. Learn more. And that pulls up this particular page. And then here you can just simply book a call. That's going to book a call with Zana. She's in the background. You can see here that I've got, I'm actually going to share this bit instead. Here we go. This is it. This is the page. So I can see this book a call here. And then when I click on book a call, it's as simple as that. Fill in my name. I'm interested in getting going. And then Zana and the team will get an email out to you to get you up and running as soon as possible. So really appreciate your time. Hopefully that's all the information you need. And we look forward to working with you soon.